Hey guys, so what's happening to global oil prices? Is this the start of oil prices to continue to go higher? How will this affect global markets, the US stock market, and does this have any impact to the Philippine stock market itself? If you're interested to know more about this, will this lead to something bigger? Check this video out.
Hi everyone! Don't forget to subscribe to Marvin Gurman's channel. Smash the bell to get the latest contents and uploads. And stay till the end for the subscriber of the day. Yeah.
Enjoy the video. Hey guys, so this is just a quick video on what really happened in the Middle East, what's causing oil prices to go higher, will it continue to go up? I got several questions from you guys asking me, is this something that will cause a recession? Asking me, is this something that should cause us to be fearful as well, and how will it impact the Philippine markets? Please remember also, since we are in a global economy, whatever happens in a certain part of the world, especially if it's connected to oil, will affect us on a certain level. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Anytime you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Anytime you feel that it's something that relates to your style of trading and investing, just comment oil, comment Saudi, comment anything that will add value to you on this video. And if you have any questions as well, just comment them below and I'll try to make a new video off of it. So enjoy the video, guys. Hey guys, so let's talk about what's happening in Saudi. There was a drone attack that happened over the past few days, and this is me answering the questions that you guys sent out, so that at the end of the day, the goal of this channel is really just to educate you, that as you process the information, it will allow you to somehow analyze the data with confidence as well. So you do not act with fear, you do not act based on emotion, because I've been hammering this to all of you over the past few months already, in the past years, that the way to lose money in the stock market, the way to lose money when it comes to investing, is when you trade, buy, sell based on emotions. And I hope that over the next few minutes of us staying in this video, me educating you and giving you information, that this adds so much value to you that you make the right decisions and it helps you reach your goals of financial freedom. Because again, and I'll say this over and over and over and over and over and over again, that the stock market is one of the greatest ways for you to create money. You just need to know what to do. You just need to know what you're getting into as well. Just a quick plug also, for those who were asking when the next batch of sessions of Stock Smarts will be, no, this October I'll be in Qatar, also in Cebu this October. Then Singapore, I'll be there by November 6 to 10, and also I'll end up November with Icon Davao. And then for those asking, those who are from Manila, the last batch of Stock Smarts Manila will be November 24, 25, December 7, 8, and we will end it with December 15 with the top 100, top 10 stocks for 2019 as well. So now let's go to the meat of the topic. Let's go to what actually happened. For those who are watching the news, for those who are watching geopolitics and macroeconomics and trends that follow that, please remember this. In spite of us being in a very, very, very far area from where the Middle East is, you have to remember we have to also know what's happening overseas, because we are in a global economy already. What happens in certain areas of the world will affect us as well, especially with Saudi, because Saudi is one of the largest producers of oil in the entire world. And if something happens to the oil supply, it of course will impact us, because as you all know, the narrative is basically supply and demand. If there's a cut in the supply of oil, prices will generally go up, and I'll talk more about that in the back end of this video as well. So what actually happened a few days ago, the Abaqaiq plant as well as the Kurais oil field in Saudi Arabia were bombed by drones. So I'll leave whatever political situation, whatever political news, to the political YouTubers and to the political news items. But basically, this is just the facts that they were hit by drones, regardless of who did it. This caused destruction on those plants and oil fields as well. I don't know if you know this, but Saudi supplies 10% of the world's oil supply. So that being said, it already cut the oil supply and production just because of that destruction. The attack wiped out around 6 million barrels of production of what Saudi can produce on a daily basis. So literally, I think they were producing around 9 to 10 million barrels a day. So this cut their production by around 4 barrels a day na lang. So it's a very uh, very large cut, no, in terms of the production of oil on a global level. This so basically, if Saudi produces around 10% of the oil's supply per day, this is around 6% of the daily oil created to be wiped out. So imagine the glut that got somehow removed, no, in terms of production of oil. One thing that we can consider though is this, and what could possibly save the markets or the economy also from going into a large glut of oil is, should there be enough reserves that are currently placed not just in Saudi but in other oil producing countries, if they have enough reserves that could somehow take care of the demand. If that happens, we might not see larger spikes of oil that may happen over the next few days as well. So that being said, how does this impact the world, and should you be fearful, should you be scared? And I've gotten a lot of messages. I've gotten more than 100 messages on this asking, is this a trigger for the financial crisis? You know that I created videos about the financial crisis starting months ago, that number one, there's been signs already since there was a yield curve inversion. For those who've seen my videos on that, I'll try to put the link above as well for those who want to know more about the yield curve inversion. Please remember that the yield curve inversion happens. It does not cause the recession, but recessions that have happened in the past were already signaled by yield curve inversions. And I also pointed out that Deutsche Bank removed 20% of its global workforce, then followed by, I think one of the larger threads that could possibly push a recession is the U.S. and China trade war, because it's not just anymore a trade war; it's spilling over already to a currency war as well. However, as of this point in time, what we're seeing in Saudi, I don't think this is something that could possibly cause a recession or a global financial crisis. It's too early to tell. We're not there yet. Oil prices really haven't hit the point where it's at crisis level yet. But you have to remember that the stock market is a forward-looking market. That being said, because of that, the Saudi stock market quickly dropped by 2.3% on September 15. Again, sentiment wise, anytime you see something negative like that, markets normally jump, markets normally push lower as well, because at the end of the day, the stock market is a forward looking market. Again, I've been creating several videos on this, and for those who attended our stock smart sessions, please remember, I noted that there's two cycles. One is the stock market cycle, the second is the economic cycle. They are not the same. People confuse them to be the same, but they are not the same. You have to realize that the stock market cycle is different from the economic cycle, that the stock market cycles move faster. The stock market cycles are months ahead than the economic cycle. So before economic data would get released, stock markets may have already dropped massively as well. That's why Saudi stock market dropped in anticipation of what it could possibly be and how it could possibly affect the global oil supply. Please remember, stock markets around the world are just basically global barometers of how people feel or anticipate markets to be in. That being said, also, the futures market of crude oil jumped to almost 20%. Please remember, the futures market also is way ahead than the stock market. It's anticipating already how prices would move in anticipation to that. I think, no, based on what I've read, the last time we saw futures crude prices moved up that high was way back in the 90s when uh, Kuwait was invaded by Iraq at that point in time. So that was more than 20 years ago already, and that was the last time we actually saw prices jumped up that high. Because of that, also look at the chart here. If you look at the spike that we're seeing here, this was the jump that was triggered by the news item, by the drone attack, by whatever sentiment that was placed. Then after that, you already saw it start to correct and go back down. Of course, it's still higher than where it was previously. No, it's still higher than where it was previously, but it has already corrected quite a bit. Why is that so? Saudi. This is just my opinion on why it corrected back down already. That it was a bit irrational for it to go up 20%. in just a few hours based on that disclosure. Saudi disclosed that the repairs are faster than expected, meaning normal production would be back by the end of September. So this is good news. That being said, if nothing bad happens in the repairs and they finish everything by the end of September, uh, the production would go back to normal, and all of the upward swings in oil prices would have been uh, factored in altogether, and its correction also would have been factored in as well. So one thing that you need to watch out for is if this drags on, if this takes a longer period of time before it actually gets fixed, or there may be further delays. This may somehow dampen oil supply in the world. If it dampens oil supply in the world, then we may see oil prices continue to go higher. So I'd watch the news on how this unfolds. No, next is this. You know me, I'm a big follower of charts, and everything we need to know is found in charts. Aside from us just watching what's happening in the news, you can also look at this is the global oil. This is the prices of oil since the 1940s. If you look at it right now, you can see the portion here to the right where I drew my own support and resistance. This is a relatively larger support. This is the large support when we saw oil drop below 40. This was the cheapest price that the market believed oil should be placed. And as you all know, also oil at some point last year uh, hit certain years ago hit around 80 80 $80 per share. So sorry, just to correct everything. This was the lowest. Just to correct everything, you have a resistance at around 80, and you have a support at around the 40, below 40 level. That being said, also we hit that 80 level. Then after that, we started to correct back down, going near above the 40 plus $40 level as well. So if you notice it, the last few years already after the large move in the early 2000s up until the large spike to 160 US dollars a barrel somewhere near the 2008 level, we're now moving sideways. We're now just consolidating until I see the markets break out of, or the commodity or oil markets break out of the 80 US dollar a barrel price range. We can't actually expect the prices to go much higher. So at the end of the day, it's still a support and resistance game. At the end of the day, it's still a technical game. You could probably see a move, no, between 45 to 50, 60, up to a high of 80. But until we go above 80, you can't really expect us to be in a crisis yet. But that being said, also a move from 45 to 60, from 60 to 80 already has a large impact on oil prices altogether. It already has a large impact uh, on how the world will actually consume. That being said, what should you watch out for? Just two things. Number one, just continue to watch out for the movement of oil prices, because if oil prices continue to go higher, this will basically impact inflation in our country. You have to remember the Philippines is still a oil importing nation, meaning if oil prices are higher, we buy oil higher. A lot of the basic goods and services here in the Philippines, their prices will go higher. Everything will be passed on to consumers, similar to what happened last year. Oil prices were relatively higher. You saw inflation also go up. That matching the dollar being higher last year is what pushed prices in our country, inflation wise, to be relatively higher as well. So I'll watch for oil prices, because if it goes higher, it will impact inflation. If it impacts inflation, it will impact also our consumption driven economy. And also, if inflation is higher, it may cause the BSP again to increase rates, which are not good for people who want to take out loans, which is not good also for the markets, because higher interest rates means people would put money on investments that would give you a fixed income over the short term. One thing that I'd watch out for also is who are the companies that are highly connected to oil. Why? People would speculate already that if oil prices are higher, this would benefit gas stations, gas companies like Shell, Phoenix, and Petron, which they're highly connected to the profitability of oil as well. Or on the flip side, also, I would watch out for companies that I've been mentioning this in a lot of the videos that I've created. That one of the companies or one of the industries that get widely affected also through this are airline companies, because 50% of the cost of airlines are basically its fuel cost. So if this continues to push higher, expect Cebu Pacific and Philippine Airlines margins to also drag on as well. And I don't know what will happen. I'm not a person who wants to speculate, but if there will be a retaliation, I don't know if it will be Saudi, it will be the US, it will be the UK. If this drags on into a war, of course, no one wants a war. It's not good for humanity in general. It's also not good for the economic cycles. People don't want to be in war because a lot of businesses will suffer as well, and this may dampen whatever positive news items that we may see in the global markets as well. Please remember, all of this is happening in line also with the trade war that's happening between the US and China. So you have something happening in the Middle East, and you also have something happening in our region of the world based on what's happening with the US and China trade war. So you stack them all together. That's what's happening in a global macro perspective. But at the end of the day, please remember, your goal in all of this is not to be scared. Your goal in all of this is to base your decisions on the fundamentals and technicals. If all of these macroeconomic items are changing our fundamentals, you should also be staying away in the markets. But if this does not change the fundamentals, especially for the stock that you are buying sample, think about Jollibee. Will people stop eating Chicken Joy if there's a war in the Middle East? Something like that. But of course, one way to also look at it, Jollibee is not just anymore a local company. It has exposure in other countries around the world. So should this happen, you also have to think about, should a war happen, will people stop eating Jollibee? That somehow you always have to relate it on how this foreign companies or foreign news will affect the stocks that you also want to watch as well. And second, everything that you need to know is found in the charts. If the stock that you're buying is still bouncing off support, you buy it. If the stock that you want to buy is still in an uptrend, you buy it as well. You do not sell. You do not sell based on the news. You sell based on your parameters. You sell based on your strategy, and that's how you win. And that's what I want. I just want you guys to win, and I want this channel to help you win to reach your goals of financial freedom. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this video, that this is something that it may not be in the Philippine market, but you have to understand whatever happens globally affects us as well. So you need to have a good understanding also of what's happening in the global markets for you to be able to win as well, to determine which is noise and to determine which is something that you need to take a look at as well, because it might affect the Philippine markets. So that's it for now. If you like this, comment oil, comment global markets, comment I'm not gonna be scared. I hope this video pushes you further to analyze the markets with confidence. So this is Marvin Germo on a very, very, very rainy day. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.